games in the NHL for tonight on Wednesday, January 28th, and we are here to break down all three of them. Myself, Andrew McInnis, and Don Buster with me. Just the two of us for today's show. We'll talk about some props as well toward the end of the show and any promotional stuff we're looking to get into. So look forward to a great show, a little back and forth stuff with Buster. We've been there, done that. We've done this before, Buster. We'll make sure we have ourselves a very, very good time. Just 3 games, but you know what? The smaller slates, there's hidden value sometimes in the smaller slates. We'll try and find some winners. How are you, Buster?
Yeah, I'm all right, Andrew. How about yourself? Everything going all right?
Not too bad. You know, not as cold as I was the past couple of days, so I won't complain too much to you about that. You know, we hit some free plays yesterday, but lost that Washington Capitals game, and you know, it's funny because depending on who you are, like you want a pick that you're on to be close, obviously, right? Even if you lose, but at the same time, yesterday it was one of those games. The second I watched the first 10 to 15 minutes, I was like, they don't have it tonight. They don't have it tonight. So sometimes you watch it because at the end of the day, a loss is a loss. Like,
it's a big problem with NHL too, right?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes a loss is just a loss. Like you don't get any more points if your team keeps it close or not. So, you know, it was one of those nights for me. But look forward to bouncing back. And we did hit the free play winner on the Jets, plus 105. Talked about how their coach yesterday, you know, he was saying how embarrassed they were with everything. I'll tell you what, yesterday, I always talk, Buster, about keeping it simple. And I guess I'm just not listening to my own advice because that Buffalo-Toronto over, I feel like everybody in the world that bets on hockey should have been on that. Like, over 6.5, Buffalo-Toronto, that was just looking us all in the face. And this Buffalo team, man, we got to start taking this team seriously. They can't lose games.
I tell you, Andrew, they're really been playing really well, and I'm impressed. And even a team like San Jose, they came right out right away, and that was it. Like that first period was over. I said yesterday, you know, just to tread lightly on that, I did give the winner on San Jose over. But there's a lot of these clubs that, you know, we've been sitting around here saying, you know, Detroit's going to regress. Our Canadians are going to regress. San Jose, Pittsburgh, Boston, all these teams. And look at Boston yesterday. They were in a terrible spot. And they came back. I know they win in overtime, but still, they jumped on them right away. So, again, this month or this NHL, even just with what you see is going on, it's just a very strange year in the NHL. There's no doubt about that. So, and that's why any team can win, like, you know, a game against another team. And we're going to talk about one of the games coming up where that team did just that, and they're playing crap hockey. So, anyways, Andrew, there is only 3 games, as you mentioned. So we're going to break down the Rangers, Islanders, Philadelphia, and Columbus, and then Colorado and Ottawa. And as you say, all 3 games, very interesting for their own reasons. And let's see if we can maybe pull out some diamonds out of these 3.
Yeah, I always say, like, the smaller slates are the slates people forget about, you know. It's kind of like on Sunday. Like, I vowed to myself this year that I wouldn't forget about NHL on Sunday just because the NFL was on. You know, if you're going to handicap a sport, you got to be all in. Doesn't mean you have to make a play on it every day, but you got to be taking a peek at the schedule and, you know, doing some handicapping. So we'll try and find something on these 3 games. And, yeah, great call by you with that over in the San Jose game. And, honestly, San Jose in general, like, that Canucks team is so bad that it's not getting better anytime soon. So, again,
I wonder
I got to listen to my own advice. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, because I feel like people that are just even casually watching the game right now could just say, okay, this team's playing well, this team's playing poorly. We'll go against Vancouver. But I am shocked that Vancouver is still getting some respectable prices. So we'll see how much different they end up getting. We got Kopech in the comment section saying, sell Brainy with 4 points. Man, oh man, he loves playing against the Vancouver Canucks. Of course, that's where he's from. Terry's in here talking about our good guy, Cole Caulfield.
That was nice.
Man, he could have scored 3 goals. He got 1 taken away from him. But, hey, happy to have all of you guys in the chat box with us right now. All
Well,
right,
Andrew,
Buster, let's dive into the
I
first
just want to
game.
mention that with
Yep.
Montreal, we're not going to talk about it for any length of time. We don't want any bad press on the comments saying that we talked about it for 10, 15 minutes. But real quick, that was my customer appreciation play, and I was sick. I mean, that game could have easily been 5-4. I mean, it was just
Oh, yeah.
one of those games. Dobish played fantastic in that too. So, but yeah, Montreal got the win. That's good. And again, like I talked about just a few seconds ago, there's a lot of these teams, San Jose being one, Montreal, that I don't know, maybe they don't regress this year. Maybe we don't see the Leafs in the playoffs. Maybe we don't see Florida. The big equalizer, what I believe, is that this 2-week Olympic break will probably set a lot of these so-called better teams in a better spot, maybe.
I agree with that. And we're going to learn a lot about these teams in the next 5-6 games, even what they're going to mean going into the break. Let's start with our very first game here. New York Rangers and New York Islanders. One thing interesting about this game here, Buster, is that these same teams are playing again tomorrow.
Yes.
The only difference is they're going to be doing a little bit of a change in venue. What are your thoughts on this one here? Obviously, we've seen the Rangers have better numbers on the road, but at the end of the day, this team has been so inconsistent. New York Islanders, they got shut out, and then they shut out their opponent. So what do you think about this game overall?
Yeah, it is a little bit of a crazy game, and now it looks like the Islanders have decided that they're going to play Rittich tonight. They'll play Sorokin tomorrow night. That's now nothing is confirmed of all since he came on the show there, Andrew. Not any of the goaltenders are confirmed, but it looks it looks that way. And why I say it looks that way, this line last night, it was 150 for the Islanders. It's been bet down, and now it's 130. Now is Rittich because he's a net worth 20 cents? I don't think so. Guess what? The Rangers have already lost twice to this Islanders club, 2-0 and 5-0, and both Sorokin and Rittich shut them out. I think Rittich shut them out the last game, 2-0. So I mean, I get that because you change your goalie, but still, this Rangers team, they're a mess. They're just a mess, And the Islanders, again, what are the Rangers? I think they've won. They haven't won too many games, that's for sure, of late. And but again, to me, this is what we've been talking about. You look at 130. I don't care if Rittich is in net. Quick's still in net for the Rangers. Although I have a feeling he'll be starting to play a little bit better. Maybe Rangers will try to play a little bit more defensive for him. But at the end of the day, you're laying 130 with the Islanders at home. I don't know. That seems to be all right. But what I actually did, because of the way the Rangers have struggled into scoring against the Islanders, and I know it's on the road, so that's where the Rangers do play a little bit better. I actually put out, just for my clients, the Rangers and Islanders under 6.5. I just, both games this year have already, like I said, 5-0 and 2-0. And both these teams, Andrew, they don't even average 3 goals a game. So again, I like the under. I like the Islanders here. The under has made my card. I don't know about if the Islanders will or not.
And looking at this game, it's like it seems like this Islanders team is just a team that I have more interest in backing overall. Like I don't really want to back the Rangers. We've got all games. Yeah, all games today though, Buster, have a total of 6.5, and yeah. I'm intrigued with this one to the under 6.5, just because I think that number one, we have seen the Rangers kind of play worse defensively at home, so for some weird reason, they've actually been a better road team as far as their numbers are concerned. But I was looking at some of my metrics, and last 10 games, these teams are both bottom 7 or 8, I would say, in chances created, high danger chances created. Would you argue that both these teams, I mean, the Islanders just made that trade, as Chuck was saying in our live chat there, picking up Palat from New Jersey, but would you argue these teams are pretty top heavy, like especially the New York Rangers? Like if Panarin's not scoring and if Zibanejad's not scoring, I don't know who else is doing it. As much as the New York Islanders, it's kind of a lot of the same characters as well. So when you think about that stuff, you think about the under, because when you think about the elites of the elites, like I know this is an exaggeration, but look at Colorado. Like a lot of people might not know this, Brock Nelson, I think he's got like 27 goals on the year. Like Brock Nelson might not even be the fourth best player on that team, like that's
Exactly.
what depth really is, right? So, I'm a bit confused. I thought this would honestly be 6, or I would even take a look at, maybe a under 1.5 first period, but I'm tempted, especially by knowing you're playing the same team again the next night. That does have an impact on my handicapping to look towards the under here, because even though back in the day, the second half of back-to-back was a lot more automatic to the overs, and I have been betting some under second half of back-to-back, I do have that feeling, hey, we're going to play this team again tomorrow. We're going to go and look at the tape and figure out what we can learn from, but let's get off to a good defensive start in this game. And so with 6.5, I am leaning towards the under here. But, then you look at the goaltending situation and it kind of makes you think, Buster. That's the only thing.
Well, exactly, because Quick can be any type. The guy has been terrible lately, but he can put up a good game every once in a while. And again, like you said, the Islanders aren't really scoring a lot of goals, and it seems like when they get ahead, Patrick Waugh said, guess what? We're clamping this stuff down. Like, we're going to get ahead of a couple of goals. They just did that to Philly the other night, I believe. I think they ended up shutting them out for nothing in Philly. And so those kind of situations, to me, like I say, when I saw 6.5, I actually even wrote in my analysis to everybody, I thought it should have been an automatic 6. And I think there are some markets there that you are getting 6, but it wouldn't have even surprised me, just the way these teams can be so offensively challenged, that it was even a 5.5. You might have seen 5.5 a little, maybe even if this game was played in December. But it seems that we are getting, even last night you saw, we are getting a lot of goals being scored this last 2 to 3 weeks for whatever reason. Again, but Riddick in net, I don't know if you have to worry about him. Like I say, he shut him out the last game. So I think at 6.5 under. I know you're laying a lot of juice there, but do you want to lay the Islanders as 130? Maybe. I kind of like that, but I always worry, and I think we talked about this before, Andrew, that it is the Rangers. They do have a lot of good talent, and they do play better on the road. So that kind of puts me off. I can see this being a 3-2 type of a game, maybe 3-1 for the Islanders, but maybe 3-1 for the Rangers. It's just one of those things. But when I look at this, bang, automatic under to me.
I'm looking for that as well. I'm looking for this too. You and I are both hockey fans. We love the sport. We loved betting it, but we love the sport. You can still have a good competitive hockey game with low scoring. People.
Oh yeah.
Some of these new age fans, right? Like, and I mean this with respect, but so many people just love the 6-5 games. And I'll tell you, like, I know this isn't the same, but in my neck of the woods, I go to a lot of junior games, the really big junior hockey city, and especially with that, compared to a lot of people I'm sitting around at these games, and we've got one of the bigger arenas in the league, like, I would prefer to watch a good quality game that's 3-2 than a game that's like 7-5. Like, you just don't want to be seeing a goal every 3.5-4 minutes of the game. Like, it's sometimes seeing some good goaltending is part of quality hockey experience. And so one thing's funny, you mentioned Riddick, and I think it's interesting because Riddick is sort of like what Jonathan Quick was for Shesterkin. Like, if we looked at the number of starts that Riddick would get, it's not that many, right?
No.
But the funny thing is that Quick used to be so good, but then when Shesterkin got injured and he had to play more, he wasn't as good anymore. Like, it's almost like the older he got, the better he did with the more rest he had. Like, some goalies like to play a lot.
Which makes total sense, Andrew.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Like he's an old goaltender, and he's single-handedly won a cup years ago. So, but
yeah,
he has it in him, but I think that's exactly what's happened. He's had to play too much. Bottom line.
Last 3 games for Jonathan Quick, .833 save percentage. and just so many dangerous chances against them. So I do lean towards the Islanders. It wouldn't
Maybe I'll
shock
bet
me.
the Islanders after all.
The funny thing is, even though the Rangers have been so bad at home, this is one of those spots, Buster, where it wouldn't shock me if both teams won in this 2-game set. Wouldn't shock me if both home teams got the job done. So we'll see what ends up happening with that one. We got Oscar saying "Viva Mexico," Buster. A lot of guys in here commenting. Appreciate you guys all being in here commenting as always.
But Andrew, I just want to mention one more quick thing about that Ranger. You have to remember the Rangers going to MSG. It was a tough place to play, even up until this year. So that just shocks me on how bad. Like I say, teams didn't want to go in there because they were so good at Madison Square Garden. But yeah, again. A lot we have, but Carmine does some kind of make me make sense. He has some kind of like look at the old man in the clouds routine that he does. Yeah, like some of this stuff doesn't make sense when you have that kind of talent. But anyways, we should get on to the next game, which is Philadelphia and Columbus. What do you think about this, Andrew?
Let's do it. Yeah, 140-ish ballpark here, and one of my favorite, a lot of the chat probably knows exactly where I'm going here, Buster, with this one. And this is one of those ones that I wish I took the other day on the New York Islanders when they beat Philly, which is backing a team when they're coming fresh off a game in which they were shut out. And, this kind of intrigues me a little bit to want to back Philadelphia, but more so, the angle that's been really successful over the past couple of years is taking the first period over when a team is coming off a shutout. And I understand that we are seeing right now a 6.5, and it's not going to be the best odds by any means. You can take the over 1.5 first period. You can take both teams to score in the first period. But the premise that when a team gets shut out, they have that urgency. They have that feeling of just being pissed off and not happy, that really shows up the next game. And a lot of times we do see it early in the game. So looking at this team, they were playing with some swagger. They've had to put up 7 goals against the Avalanche. They had a competitive game against the Mammoth. But man, oh man, it was the prototypical first game back after a road trip for the Philadelphia Flyers. It really was, Buster. I mean, Golden Knights, they beat them. Mammoth, close game against them, and then 7-3 win against the Avs. Who would have seen that coming? They got, what was it? They got 5 of a possible 6 points on the road against Utah, Vegas, and Colorado. You got to tip your cap, and you got to respect it. But, talk about keeping it simple, stupid. I remember putting a 5% play out. I think it was the first game after Columbus fired Dean Evison, and I backed Columbus. They got the job done. And man, oh man, this team has just rolled. I talked about on my Friday show, and I was happy to have Perlo on my show, who's in the chat right now. We talked about how it was kind of a weird line. It's just a weird number overall, how Columbus was such a short underdog, despite how well Tampa's been playing. So we kind of liked that fishy line, and we leaned towards Columbus on the show there. So you ask yourself, does rest mean rust? Does rest mean good defense or bad defense? At the end of the day, Columbus hasn't played since Saturday. It's now Wednesday night. It's not going to talk me off it. I think Philadelphia gets dragged into an offensive game here. I do lean towards goals in this one, specifically the first period over. And if I was playing Philadelphia as far as the bounce back angle, I would only play the first period money line because this Columbus team is looking pretty damn good right now. And one thing worth mentioning, I'll bring you back in here, Buster, is there's not a lot of practice time for these teams right now. A lot of podcasters and radio hosts and NHL executives have talked about this. With this condensed schedule, there's not been a lot of practice time. So Columbus got Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday as opportunities to practice together. That's always a good thing for a team like that.
Yeah, and I think that's why you see them being a 140 favorite here, because they have been playing some really good hockey. They've won 6 of their last 7, and those last 2 at home, like you had mentioned, they beat Tampa Bay. Mind you, Tampa Bay was in a shit spot, no doubt about that. But those bad spots have been coming through anyway. So, and like you say, it was a fishy line in that game as well for Tampa Bay only being minus 120 there, but because of the bad spot. And they also beat Dallas. They shut them out 1-0. So here's a team that can win 8-5, and then they can also win 1-0, right? Again, Andrew, you mentioned it was 6.5. Yeah, 6.5 under 20. So you're getting even money, which is okay. And I can see how this could be a game where you might want to take the over because Philadelphia, it's one of my things that I do. I either bet the team, which I can't bet Philadelphia here, even though that they went on that nice, and like you said, and this is what we were talking about a little earlier. Make it make sense, because here's Philadelphia, who are 2-8 in their last 10 games, but they win. They crushed Colorado in Denver 7-3, and then they beat Vegas as well. So again, that, and now with them coming off that kind of it was a bad spot and just a bad game for them. You got to believe there's going to be some goals here. That 6.5 does scare me off a little bit because I'm a big fan of that Jack Greaves. So, and Columbus have been playing a little bit more to the under lately. They're actually 5-3 to the under their last 8, but Philly are 5-3 to the over in their last 8. But what's a good thing here, if you do like the over, these 2 penalty kills aren't the best. Now, their power plays aren't all that great either, but you can overcome on the power play. But when you have a terrible penalty kill, Philadelphia is 20th in the NHL on the penalty kill, and Columbus are 28th. And so when you got a team like Philly that's probably not too pleased with themselves getting shut out the other night, wanting to score goals, and they get to face a 28th power penalty kill. Again, I tend to agree with you on the over here. I'm not sure if it's going to make my card. Who knows? If it's 6.5 even right now, do you think it comes down a little bit more, only because of the way Columbus has been playing of late? And again, and basically how Philly's been playing. They're, again, 2-8 in their last 10. I'm with you a bit on the over, but I think Columbus is probably the better play, even though Philadelphia did well on their last little road trip. I can't trust them. I really can't trust Philly.
Everybody now talking about in the chat box with Merzlikins being confirmed in goal.
No way.
Will we get a better price? Will we get a better price now on Columbus if we want to back them? Does that help our over? If Elvis is in the building.
It automatically helps you over, because, like I say, we didn't have the goaltenders when we came on. We both said, "Hey, you got any confirmations?" We both, no, there's no confirmations yet. Now that yeah, for sure. Like, to me, and now because of that Philadelphia, you either bet the Philadelphia team, which I can't, or over. Now that he's playing confirmed for sure. I was going to pass on that. I don't know if Columbus was going to make my card. I don't know if Columbus is going to make my card now, but I will have a small play with you, brother, on the over.
If Elvis is in the building, then I'm betting the over. We'll look for maybe a first period over, full game over, whatever it might be. This could be a good props game to look at. And we'll remind people, look, that Philadelphia team, their first game back at home after the road trip was the flat spot.
Yeah.
So, maybe we can give them a little bit of an excuse for it. We
and
don't
it's
want to
just
make
a small
excuses,
right?
but
from Philly to Columbus, you're not even in the air in an hour, I bet. So, and then with Columbus being good and rested, and they always seem to come out fast. I kind of like your first period over too. I haven't looked. Is there a lot of juice on that first period over, Andrew? On the 1.5?
It's not as bad because the total is to the under, or the 6.5 to the under here. Let me look at.
That's not going to be there for a while. So if you like that over, go in and get it now, because it's going to be 6.5 over 20. Probably within the next hour, I would think.
So it's roughly 30-35 for the first period over.
That's not bad. Yeah. For those two teams, like you say, with Philly not scoring last game, I like that as well.
It's funny because how like certain price ranges you find sometimes better luck with? Like last year, the plus 105, plus 110 with my team totals, man, they were just on fire. This year, I don't think you want to bet a first period over if it's less than 125. Like those minus 110s, there's a reason why they're like that. It's like sometimes there's a reason a number is so low, right?
Yeah. And I've seen it because I've been betting this NHL for 45 years. And I mean, you never saw, actually at one time you couldn't even bet first periods and stuff like that, obviously. But Yeah, they're making you pay. If you want to play a first period over, they're making you pay. So if you're gonna, it's almost like playing a small favorite. So it's always like minus 125 or 130. They're making you pay for that first period over. But there is a reason a lot of times, because these teams know, especially in the NHL, it's so important to get a lead, to get out front, depending on how you like to play. It's so important. And that's why you see, and you'll see it a lot of times, you'll play a game and go, geez, that first period should have went over. And what ends up happening, you look at, they're 15 to 14 shots on goal and it's 1-0. Sometimes, these goaltenders, they're really good too. So, but again, this sets up, I think, quite nicely, Andrew, for that first period over. And now it might set up pretty well for that full game over. So now that you say that, if you got, I'll be betting one of those. I'm not sure. Maybe bet both, but I like it now.
I'll tell you what helps sometimes, those power plays. I had a team total over the other day, and it was a 4-minute double minor, and I got 2 goals in the power play. Sometimes a power play can change a total for you just like that with a first period or full game. So those are always nice to see.
And like I mentioned, these two teams are terrible on the penalty kill. So
yeah,
you always want to look at that. If you got a couple teams that are really, good on the penalty kill, you might not, and it's a 6.5, something like that. You might want to take a little caution first and go through other variables of the game before you start betting those kind of things over. But when you have 2 bad penalty kill teams, that goes in your favor anyways.
So 1 under and 1 over. Sounds like we're on the same page so far. We're reading the same game book. We'll see if that works out for the best of us. Buster, look, NHL action. You guys are going to hear a lot of our opinions here today. Of course, all of our stuff and our favorite bets are at WagerTalk.com. I'm doing a show overnight. You can get that overnight or in the morning, getting at least 1 or 2 plays plus some player props. That's called the Pre-Scout. You can get that on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. And I have just posted officially a package for Olympic men's hockey. And it's a really good deal here because we're going to be doing 5% plays, 4% plays, sides, totals, futures, whatever. It's $59, guys. $59 for 1 2-week tournament. At WagerTalk here, a regular 3-4% play is $25. I'm selling the entire tournament for $59 at the Olympics. WT.buzz/AM. There's going to be 2 weeks where there's no hockey in the NHL, no NHL going on. I'm going to have you covered with Olympic action, and it's not going to be just the big teams. We're going to be betting on the Italian games. We're going to be betting on the France games. We're going to be betting on everything. And so make sure you guys check it out. I'm going to be working with the Hockey News, covering this tournament all the time, every single day. So I'm going to be dialed in. I'm going to have beat reporters talking to me that are in the tournament or at the tournament. So $59, guys, pretty good deal. I wasn't going to argue with customer service, but I was a bit surprised by that price tag. I'll be honest. $59 for 2 weeks of a full tournament. So you guys can head over to my page and grab that as well. Buster, you had a nice winner in college basketball last night. You're doing a lot more than just hockey. What's going on with you?
Yeah, college basketball has been pretty good so far. NHL explosion has been my probably worst month I've ever had at the site, and I'll be here 10 years come this May. So it's just been one of those things. It's just, no matter any games that I've been playing, it's just very, very tough in the NHL. So I've been trying to be a little bit more low volume in the NHL. Went 1-2 last night again. So looking forward to this last week. Going to have a good week. Try to get a little bit back here. But as Carmine always says, it is a marathon, not a sprint. And looking forward to this Olympic hockey as well, Andrew. And because I think you're going to see some good games. I'll be interested to see if you're laying any minus 3.5 goals or 4 goals when teams are crushing teams 11-1 and stuff like that. But I'm looking forward to the Olympic hockey. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're gonna have some football spreads in a hockey game. I had to fill out this survey. It was pretty funny, and one of the questions was, how many goals will Italy score in the whole tournament? And
really?
they're in a really tough pool, right? And you're guaranteed to play a couple of games. And one guy responded, I was checking, it was all the people that are doing media stuff with the hockey news, and some of them said 1, 2, 3 goals. I said 5, and maybe that was a bit egregious, but if they get 1 goal a game and then one or 2 games they pot 2 goals, then they're, they get there. But when they're playing some pretty tough teams, it's going to be pretty, like, we're going to be seeing some spreads of, like you said, 2.5, 3.5 in a hocky game. So
you might even see -6 and stuff like it. It's
yeah.
going to be crazy, but it's always that way in the Olympics, right? It's always that way.
World Juniors, hockey championships, all that stuff. Yeah. Squash, will you be doing any YouTube content over the Olympics? I will be doing YouTube content on my show, The Pre-Scout, but PuckTime will be on pause for the break, just because with the schedule, with us going live at 11 a.m. Eastern, it just doesn't make sense with the schedule of the Olympics. Yeah, we would have to be recording these at night, which is the same time that I do my other show. So it just makes the most sense for us. All right, Buster, Colorado and Ottawa. Let's dive into it. What do you think here? And any other thoughts you wanted to add, feel free.
Yeah, I was just going to quickly say, one of those Fridays in the Olympic break there, I'll jump on with you and we can have a little chat, maybe talk about what's to come in the NHL and talk a little bit of the Olympic hockey with you. But I know you're going to be really busy. Congrats with that little spot with the hockey news. That's some good stuff, brother.
Thanks, man. I'm excited, and it's one of those things where I'm gonna have to hide my my cheering a little bit, we'll try and stay level-headed for sure.
Okay, this Colorado Ottawa, another interesting game, but this Colorado team, geez, they look head over heels better than anybody in the NHL when they want to play. Obviously, we just talked about how Philadelphia walked into Denver and beat them 7-3. But, they are just a full hockey team, very deep, good goaltending. And Ottawa, I like Ottawa, but they just don't get the results, and that's because of the goaltending, I believe. They have a decent club. It wouldn't surprise me if they snuck in there for the 8th spot at the end of, once we're all said and done here. But this might be a little tough ask tonight because Ottawa has had real trouble against Colorado. 9-1 the last 10 games. Colorado's beat Ottawa, including 8-2 on January. They just hammered them. So when you see kind of stuff like that, but do you want to bet Colorado -160? Is that because Ottawa does play well at home? They've been playing pretty good hockey at home. So again, with that beatdown, 160, I'm not sure if I want to lay that. I do think Colorado wins this game. And talking about goals, it was 8-2 last time. Got to lay it. It's 6.5. I know all the 3 games were 6.5. I do like the over 6.5 here. You might even kind of looked at the Colorado. I'm doing a little bit of you, Andrew. Kind of looked at the Colorado team total even of it's 3.5. And the juice isn't that much. I think it's 125 or something like that. So depending on what you like. And when these 2 teams have got together, they have gone over 8 of the last 9 times. And right now, Colorado's on a 4-2 overrun. Ottawa on a 5-2 overrun. Again, it's one of those games. Maybe we overthink it. You just bet Colorado and over. I'm going to bet one of them. I think it'll probably be the over, Andrew.
Now, when I look at this team, I saw them lose, what was it, 3 of the last 4 of the last 5 at one point?
Yeah.
And nobody bats an eye because they are that much better than the rest of the competition. They are that much better than the rest of the competition. But what's crazy about this Ottawa team is if you look at, I was listening to 32 Thoughts, the Sportsnet podcast yesterday, Buster, and they were talking about how it's been a little while since the East has been so much better than the West, overall. And if you look at
it's been a long while if you think about it.
Yeah, if you look at this Ottawa team and you put them in the West right now, they would still be competing for like a playoff spot. Like they wouldn't really be giving up on their season. You put this Ottawa team in the Atlantic Division with the goaltending problems that they've had, and you're in pretty tough, right? Like look at the Vegas Golden Knights even, not to mention they've got like the most overtime lost points in the league, which I hate those overtime lost 1 points unless you're on the winning side of it, of course, and you get a point. But
it was nice last night.
Yeah, exactly. But Ottawa, I mean, overall, this team, they're not as – what I'm trying to say here, I still don't think they're as bad as their record indicates.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's the goaltending. Like I said right from the beginning, it's goaltending. And talk about that goaltending, Andrew. Now, I don't know if it's been confirmed. The guys in the chat might have something on this, but it looked like Allmark might play tonight. Might be his first game back. I know he's been there, so that might be something to look at. Maybe Ottawa plays for them tonight, but I think they're just overmatched, right? They're just overmatched.
Yeah, that's really the problem here. There's just overmatched a little bit here. Buster, I got my same game parlay. I'm just gonna shout it out.
Okay, perfect.
To you guys here today. Having trouble loading it up with the StreamYard today, but I just had a few plays that I wanted to mention. And hold on here. Just wanted to make sure I get the right numbers. Okay. So we got three props, and then we're going to just give out the over because I like the over in this one here. So we got Victor Olofsson, Martin Necas, Tim Stützle, and over 6.5. So we're going to take Olofsson to get a point. We're going to take Martin Necas to get an assist, and Tim Stützle to get an assist, and then over 6.5 goals. And I'll tell you, my new favorite prop is the assist prop because it's the way to get less juice. Like, how
less juice.
Yeah, like I had Andy Lang on the show, and he gave out Pasternak to get an assist. We all think about Pasta as a great defense or great goal scorer.
Yeah.
But he got like 3 or 4 assists again. Again in that same matchup against the New York Rangers the last time out. So we're gonna go with Olofsson, and this is kind of a diamond in the rough too. Victor Olofsson plays on the top line with Nathan McKinnon and Necas. They're kind of just like they're kind of just plopping him there. Like nobody really thinks about him being a superstar, but he's on the top line. I think you could put me or you on the top line with Nathan McKinnon. We get a point every now and then. And this guy's only minus 140. So Olofsson point, Necas assist, Stützle assist, and over 6.5. The one that I worry a little bit the most of is that Stützle assist. But I do think maybe I could just change that to a point for him. Let's see what the odds are if I change that to a point. It's just, it's like minus 1. It's like really heavy price, minus 175. Maybe it could be worth it to play it safe. Plus 360 if I make that just a Stützle point. So maybe that's worth it just to look at. So plus 360. Yeah. And yesterday, I think we hit all plays but one on the same game parlay.
Yeah, you went 3 out of 4 if I remember right. Yeah.
And a couple of plays I gave you guys were good
again. Plays. That's why you don't play parlays, Andrew, because that's what Vegas was made on, parlays and penny slots, right? So again, I know that everybody loves playing parlays. That's the way to go. It's a young man's world, and all the guys of that demographic just love playing parlays. Hey, I like throwing a parlay myself. They love the same game. I know you get all kinds of kudos for the same game, but remember, bet those ones individual too. So take those ones that Andrew gives you. Take a little bit and bet them individual, then throw a little sprinkle on the parlay because that's all you should be doing with parlays is sprinkling, if you ask me.
Exactly. And I do like that Olofsson one. Again, Olofsson up there in the top line playing with 2 studs. They got McKinnon and Necas working together, and Olofsson there on the left wing is only minus 135, 140. So not too bad. So Buster's rocking and rolling with college football. We got a bunch of stuff going on right now overall at the website. I believe that 7-day deal is still going on.
That's the best deal going.
Any closing thoughts, Buster, and we'll wrap things up.
Yeah, no, just like you said, that 7-day all access, it looks like we'll have it for about the rest of the month. Great deal. You get 7 days for a price of $69 with all the 5%ers. You also that comes with that as well. Any 5% that are loaded. I know I will have one on Saturday because I have 2 games that I've got circled for Saturday. There's a 14-game NHL slate Saturday, so I will have one up on Saturday. I just don't know what line or what what I'll get for line wise, but what I think I could probably play 2 of them, but of course I will not. The other one will be a 4% best bet. But grab that 7-day all access. And I think if you even grabbed it tomorrow, then you could get all our hockey until the Olympic break.
Yes.
I might be missing a day. Maybe you have to grab it Friday.
Give or take.
But give or take. But yeah, but that's what you might want to do, because it's $69, whatever we put out, and it's good for every capper on the site. So 7-day all access. Closing thoughts. Yeah, best of luck, everybody. It's a tough card. I do like that under game under. A little cautious now with Riddick for sure being confirmed, but I know the way the Islanders play hockey. So if they can get a little bit of lead, they might win again like that. So
big slate
best of
tomorrow,
luck, guys. And thanks for having me, Andrew. Hopefully we didn't talk about the Habs at all, so we shouldn't have any complaints about that.
Yeah, geez, they weren't too good to us the last time we did that. The comment section was ruthless towards us. They're ruthless towards us. That will do it for the show, guys. Thanks for all the kind words in the comment section. We appreciate you all for watching. Let's make some money on this 3-game slate, because we got 15 games tomorrow, and Carmine returns to the show, and you guys will look forward to the play of the day and all kinds of good stuff from him as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time right here on PuckTime.